Nerd's the word.
We are back.
We're back in action for, one or two final episodes of this season. We're coming to a close, actually. We only have a few more weeks left of school, and what better way to end it than with the end game?
Well, I mean...
How was that transition, Ben?
It was pretty okay, since we're not starting with Endgame.
Well, the episode is going to be about Endgame.
Yeah.
Particularly. I'm your host, Jackson DiCarlo, and that's also your host,
Benjamin Anderson.
Like I said, welcome to Nerd is the Word. We're just two nerds on Fredonia's one of the two favorites. I can't choose, but FredoniaRadio.com 89.5 WDVL. We're just here to talk about video games, movies, more, whatever. Recommend stuff, talk about our favorites, speculate, do whatever. Really, like I said, we're just gonna
do it all.
Here to have fun. So let's get right into it, Keemstar style. Here we go.
Okay.
So, as you know, Avengers Endgame has come out, and it's been quite the romp. But before we get into that, we're gonna start with something that's more urgent and pressing.
Well, I guess so.
Normally we do like hey Ben, what's your favorite blank? But this is more important than that.
Is it? Or did you just not come up with one?
Both.
Okay.
So here's the timetable for tonight's episode. We're going to talk about the Sonic trailer that came out.
Oh, no.
Maybe a bit of Detective Pikachu and how one's doing something right, one's not. And then later we're going to talk about Endgame. We will do spoiler-free discussion primarily. And then a bunch of bells and whistles will go off, or maybe I'll just say it. And then we're going to talk spoilers for probably the last part of the episode is going to be spoiler-based. So we'll probably have like a timestamp in the YouTube video if we can, right? We'll just say, if you want to not hear spoilers, talk to this. But like I said, I will have a big,
we will
tune out if you don't want to
it.
get spoiled. But yeah, so.
Granted, I kind of doubt it based on how big of an opening weekend they had.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
It...
Yeah, so let's get things started with the more, like I said, the more important part of this show.
Oh, no.
It's starting.
Oh, no. We're going to get copyright flagged.
Oh, no.
Why are you letting it do this?
Skipping ahead of it. Skipping ahead. I don't know if this is radio clean, actually, so I'm just gonna
that's what I was about to ask.
I'll do the karaoke, actually, just to be safe.
That one would be, because it has no lyrics.
There we go. So it's gonna play this under. Oh. So we're here to talk about the Sonic trailer that came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the song that played during the Sonic trailer.
Very Sonic-like.
Coolio's Gangster's Paradise.
Well, Sonic's a 90s character.
Going straight for the target demographic here. If you did not see this trailer, consider yourself lucky.
Well, I don't know.
Also, watch the trailer.
There's nothing like... It's really weird, because it's worse and better than what I expected at the same time.
Yes.
I don't know how they did it, but they've done it.
The internet seems to be going a bit crazy over this, because this is kind of like ridiculously like over the top. Holy crow! Like, we didn't expect
it's
this.
not even like Sonic 2'd either, which is kind of weird. Like, the toot that Sonic gives off is not the same. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Like, since the leaks, like the trailers were leaked a while ago, and people thought, like, this can't be real. Like, they're not actually gonna do, like this like render of Sonic. It looks horrible, and sure enough, they did. Sonic looks less like Sonic and more like the kid from Jumanji when he gets turned into a monkey.
Yes. Well, the worst part is, I almost argue it's not even that this is bad. It's more that Sonic's design is so strong that any other variant of his design looks shallow in comparison. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Here's a pretty
I mean, really, the most atrocious thing about this character is his teeth.
Why are you running? Why are you?
Yeah, you have every reason to run when you see this thing. Oh no, here's a picture of Garfield, the Sonic palette.
I would prefer that Garfield.
I'd watch
that
that.
Sonic.
But yeah, it's
Sonic has human teeth. I don't know why.
it's not, and they didn't even like use some of the like the voice actors who are established to be you know,
They didn't.
like voice
I don't
actors.
think that's that big of a deal that they didn't use. Because
I don't know.
the guy who they got to play Sonic is a voice actor.
Well, yeah, but he's not a Sonic voice actor.
He doesn't have to be. I don't need a 4 kids Sonic
Yeah, it
voice
doesn't
actor.
need to be for kids, but like, you know, I like Roger Craig Smith. I like the other guy who plays Sonic.
I'm not saying like I don't like those people,
Oh.
but those are video game Sonic. Oh yeah, well that's fan art. You can't.
That's Butch Hartman's take on it.
Well, Butch Hartman.
Yeah.
We're not going to discuss Butch Hartman here.
Like this is something else. Like I don't even know, dude. Like I saw this today.
See,
Oh, yeah, see they put the Sonic mouth in Detective Pikachu and that instantly looks worse. Like
you know, like
people on Reddit are able to just like slightly change the design and be like, "Hey, this looks much better." Like
it actually looks like the character.
I've
you
seen
know,
so many amazing concept changes.
that honestly wouldn't have been that
I don't
hard to
know.
do, but they chose not to.
It's just ridiculous. Sonic, aside from just like
He is a big video game character, so
Yeah.
either way, it's not like the Ratchet and Clank movie that came out 10 years too late.
yeah,
I don't think it really matters when
Yeah.
Sonic comes out, because Sonic, there's been many studies done comparing him to other video game mascots
Yeah.
and character designs, and more people, at least especially younger, know Sonic compared to Mario.
yeah.
So I mean,
'Cause
theoretically,
he has an incredible design, but they kind of strayed away from it.
yeah. So I mean, theoretically, it's not too late to do a Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yeah,
So I don't
like
think
it makes sense for them to make a Sonic movie. It looks
yeah.
bad. At least Sonic does. Let's
Well,
okay.
Sonic
Let's
does.
skip. Let's pretend we didn't see any looks of Sonic. Let's talk about everything else.
I like. There's
What, do you
some
wanna talk
cool
about-
things. I like it when
I
he
was
turns
gonna
into a ball.
yeah, that looks fine.
That looked cool.
I thought the
sound
flash
effects?
lightning effects were kind of cheesy. Like
Well, they're
yeah.
meant. I think they're meant to be cheesy. I think
because he's
that's
got
their
like whenever he
goal.
does fast things, he's got like lightning, like blue lightning bolts, like the Flash does, and I'm like, eh.
I mean, it's hard to represent. Like, I feel like they did a lazy way to represent speed.
Speed.
It looked like in the trailer they're trying to do like a Quicksilver kind of sequence.
Yeah, when he he
Which-
stops missiles and he's like, "Ha, look at me! I'm doing it. Missiles. I'm moving the missiles in the air." And that's like
Which-
the thing from Days of Future
Which
Past.
is probably the best part of that trailer because it looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, but then again, that's something they completely stole from
Kind of.
a different movie.
Yeah. But I mean, it's one of my favorite scenes from another
Exactly,
movie.
but like,
I don't know.
if
If you're
you-
gonna steal, you might as well steal from something that's good.
yeah, I just
know?
kind of was like, I was watching it with one of the people in the station, and they were just like pointing out, this looks exactly like this. Like this looks from Days of Future Past. He's got the sling ring from Doctor Strange. Like he throws one of his gold rings out, and it becomes a
Oh
portal.
no! That actually is a Sonic thing.
That is. It looks exactly like the sling ring from Doctor Strange.
It's like when Sonic goes into a ring at the end of a stage, it teleports him. That's what it's supposed to be. I didn't realize that at first either.
Yeah, but you see the
I know what
similarity,
you're saying.
right?
I know
like
what
it's
you're saying, though.
uncanny.
I'm just telling you what they're doing.
I get it, but like.
And also we don't even know.
I'm just imagining like Mario throwing like a pipe out of his pocket and having like a green sling ring show up and teleport him. All right. Anyway, how about Dr. Eggman? How do you feel about Robotnik, Eggman, Jim Carrey? I mean,
he looks like Ace Ventura more.
Jim Carrey's playing Jim Carrey in this movie.
See, but the thing is, he might as well just play Jim Carrey.
I feel like it'll work.
It's better than. See, the thing is, I didn't like him at the
paying to
beginning,
see
but
Jim
when
Carrey, honestly.
he was actually talking to Sonic, it seemed to work almost.
Yeah, like the
You know?
scene where he's like talking to the general, I was like, ugh.
But when he's actually, to be fair, the trailer I think is cut weird.
I
for
do
that
think the
scene.
trailer itself is actually very bad.
So, it's
and, like,
hard to
portraying what
argue that
is good
scene.
about the movie
Yeah,
and why you should see the movie. But I don't know.
because I know Jim Carrey knows comedic timing, so there's no
Jim
way.
Carrey's great. I love Jim Carrey.
This is like '90s Jim Carrey, like Ace Ventura,
The Mask,
the Mask
Riddler.
kind of era. It seems like of him going back into these kind of crazier roles.
Well, how do you think of his character design, like his costuming, like
It's Eggman. Like if you want Eggman,
modern Eggman?
it looks
I
like
guess.
Eggman. I don't think it really is all
I
that
really
bad.
at the last few seconds of the trailer, it shows him like as
Full.
full on Eggman. He's bald and got the ridiculous mustache and goggles, and I'm like, that looks good.
That looks funny, to be honest. Like if they do like funny jokes about that, that could be good. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks
The
like
thing-
this movie is gonna be.
I think it could be good, bad, kind of.
It could just be a straight like Venom or
I could see it being like Venom.
the Super Mario Bros. Movie of our generation. You know,
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that, and I'm like,
because when Sonic was trending earlier, Mario Bros. Was trending earlier too.
yeah, the movie or just Mario Bros.
movie.
Okay. See, the thing is, I have no clue where to put this, because I'm just like, I'm not really that appalled by it because I'm not the biggest Sonic fan. I like Sonic.
Yeah.
I'll play Sonic games. I probably played more Sonic games than you have,
Yeah, I've played Mario and Sonic at the Olympics.
and that's it.
Do you think anyone else should have played Eggman?
No. I
like.
the best part about the movie is
I've heard like
him as
I
Eggman.
don't know if I like him as Eggman. I'm like, well, I could see that argument. I just don't know who else could do it.
well. The thing is, I would almost
Could
would
you imagine if they
rather.
got Josh Brolin to be Eggman? He's like, I am inevitable.
We went from Deadpool 2 to Infinity
Thanos.
War and
to
Endgame
Eggman.
to Eggman.
That's quite the tone shift,
Ugh.
don't you think?
Jeez. I mean, the thing is, I don't think they would ever type. They
I
would.
don't know who could be it. I mean,
See,
if you
the
have
thing is-
suggestions, send them our way.
Yeah. What
and
are
be
like any
hey,
suggestions? Like Jeff Bridges, like the dude.
Jeff Goldblum?
Well, he doesn't look like Sonic.
I don't know.
Or
It's such a weird character, and it just makes me wonder why they just didn't make it a feature-length animated film like Spider-Verse
or
like
what the new supposed Mario Bros.
Yeah.
movie is supposed to be.
I don't know. It's weird that they decided to go live action and that they decided to.
See, the thing
It
is,
kind of gives me like Scooby-Doo vibes.
it gives me more
but Scooby
Alvin and the
looks fine.
Chipmunks.
Yeah, Alvin and the Chipmunks. And
'Cause
that dynamic is actually pretty solid now that you mention that.
It feels like it, but in a better way. It's hard to say better because I haven't
Yeah.
seen the movie, so I can't.
I saw a lot the Alvin and the Chipmunk movies on repeat basically when I was younger.
I don't say I've seen the Alvin and Chipmunks movie, at least like the first two.
Yeah, my siblings and I really like them, and now looking back, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Dad.
Yeah, the first one at least it's passable.
Yeah, they're like okay.
And all the other ones are
but
kind of no.
I'm sure they're horrifyingly annoying, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
How do you feel about the weird joke where he has Sonic in the bag?
He stuffs Sonic in a duffel bag, and they're walking through a building, and they're waiting for an elevator, and he's like, "How much longer do I have to be in here? I can't breathe." And some woman looks at the guy, this random cop that's Sonic's friend, and he's like, "Hey, is your child in there?" And he's like, "Oh no, it's not a child." Well, it's not. It is a child, but it's not my child.
Well, I think that line is funny, but it just didn't come across funny in the trailer.
Yeah, it was like,
So-
oh my god.
So the
like,
worst part is, I don't know if the movie is somewhat funny or not.
it
or
doesn't
the
look
trailer's
funny.
just
None of the
bad.
jokes were funny.
No, I feel like conceptually, the Eggman stuff can be funny. Conceptually,
Eggman is where
that
most of the humor comes from.
that line can be funny.
The dynamic between him and Eggman, like Sonic Boom.
oh
the
yeah,
TV
Sonic
show.
Boom, I forgot.
I've
Why are
made
you
it
talking-
kind of my pet project to watch through
Why?
Sonic Boom, and it's actually one of the funniest shows I've seen in a while. It's ridiculously poor in quality, and that's what makes it funny. Like, the animation is kind of wonky, and the set design, no, get rid of that. The set design and the editing is kind of funky, but the voice acting and the writing is incredible. And it's just funny to watch.
Well, they only had like 5 cents in duct tape to make the show.
Yeah, basically. Like, I follow one of the writers on Twitter, and it's so funny.
He's a funny guy.
I love the voice cast, like I said, and it's just one of those experiences that I very much enjoy laughing at instead of with, kind of.
Do you think any other Sonic characters are going to be in this film? Like Knuckles?
I know for sure at the end or like
They're
at
gonna
some
tease a
point,
sequel.
Knuckles is going to come out and be like, Sonic.
Well, is it going to be more like
chili dog?
It's going to be like classic Sonic or classic Knuckles more?
Yeah,
or more
not buff Knuckles.
I don't want to think they would do. Well, Knuckles has always been kind of buff in a weird way.
Yeah, but like in the Boom redesign, he's like super tall and he's got like a chest.
Do you? Well,
watch Rouge the Bat come out.
Oh no, I would actually.
Or Tails just follow this guy. He's like, Sonic, my helicopter broke, and the guy's just standing there like, who the hell? What? What is happening?
Honestly, the worst designed like out of any of them, and I would not want to see that design.
It's like one of those like weird like video game like borderline sexist.
It's a Sonic fan
icons.
Basically.
It's weird. I don't know.
She's not even that bad of a character in the actual game.
Isn't she like a spy for the president?
She's kind of. The games get really bonkers. Like Shadow has to save the president's kid. And stuff.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I don't know why, but like, it never occurred to me that.
Oh yeah, Shadow could be in the movie.
Shadow could, but like, one of the lines SpongeBob Sonic says in the trailer is, "Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to save your planet."
Yeah, I was curious.
And I was
like,
what? Since when is Sonic extraterrestrial? I know it takes place in wacky zones, but
because Sonic's entire the storyline of like classic Sonic is that Dr. Robotnik is taking like all like nature and turning them into robots.
Yeah.
So like he takes like the birds and like things that are in the level,
and then he makes them pilot robots.
And he makes them pilot
when you
the
destroy
robots.
them, like birds fly out and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
so I think
the original like Sonic lore I thought was that he was a hedgehog, a blue hedgehog that lived in Indiana in a hedge by a fast food restaurant, and he ate fries, hamburgers, and milkshakes to stay alive. And his dad died somehow, so it was just him and his mom. And then he like fell in some toxic sludge or something and became Sonic Fast. And then Dr. Robotnik, who was a good guy, was like, "Hey, I'll help you out, little blue hedgehog." And he's like, "Oh, cool, thanks."
He also has quills.
Yeah, then the like Chaos Emeralds turned him Eggman evil, and now he has to like fight his father figure. And I don't know. What is this? Sonic the Hedgehog will have edgy moments, according to Jim Carrey.
What's in term edgy? Is this a PG-13 film? What's the rating for this film?
We're playing the families, so you can't get too cozy. But I made sure that there are some winks and nods and edgy things that are still acceptable to both age groups.
I mean, whatever. Jim Carrey knows what he's doing.
Well, I don't know. It's just at first I looked at the kind of the branch off here. I looked at the Detective Pikachu trailer, I was very concerned because of the realism and the animation style. And I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. But then I look at this trailer, and I'm like, I'm not so scared for Detective Pikachu anymore because that looks competent and funny. But this looks scary.
I mean, for all we know, that could be just such a well-cut trailer.
Yeah, those trailers were really good.
Like, I think those trailers were really well done.
And they actually had music, unlike that Men in Black International trailer that came out. That was funny.
Even though I want to go see the Men in Black movie still. Do you still want to go see? Do you want to go see that?
I do.
I think it should be fun.
Because I do like Brad Pitt a lot.
I like Men in Black.
Yeah,
just
Men
in
Black.
general.
I have to brush up on those though.
Like the first one and the third one are. The third one is somehow a great and amazing
film. I never saw the third one. I saw the first. We'll marathon them at some point.
Yeah, there's time travel involved. It's actually good.
We want to X-nay Hellboy because we haven't gotten around to that.
Yeah, I was assuming such.
Okay.
I mean, we might watch the first two, but we're not definitely watching in theaters.
Do you want to do final thoughts on this trailer? And
I almost just to let everyone know, it is supposedly at this point in time a PG rating.
Yeah, it's also
PG-13. I mean,
is it June? It's coming out. December, November?
No way, it's coming out in June.
No, I'm thinking of Child's Play.
No, it's
Sonic-
coming out November 8th.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my
Okay.
God, that comes out like right before my birthday.
We can see it for your
No.
birthday. Yeah.
That's the worst birthday present.
Birthday.
Anyway, yeah, so watch this trailer. Tell us what you think through our social media outlets if you can, or just run into me and say I'm scared for my life.
So what's my basic thoughts? I think either this will be better than this trailer or worse than this trailer. There's no...
Yeah.
And by better, I mean not, like, much.
I don't know.
It's hard to say, because I need to see the right people editing this movie.
It just, compared to Detective Pikachu, who looks very charming and it fits the adaptation of the original.
You mean Sonic compared to...
Yeah, like Detective Pikachu looks charming and cute and like it looks good compared to the original, like, you know, what's it called? Material. And this,
like, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, why they couldn't look at the Sonic design and be like, I don't know who said that was good.
I don't know, dude.
Because usually Sonic Team is usually very, protective.
I don't think this is Sonic Team, though. I think they just licensed it and said,
No.
"Here you go."
They know. It looks like there's a whole bunch of, like, the producers looks like a whole bunch of Japanese people.
I don't know. Regardless, we have a lot of time left to think about this movie and more trailers to see, but TLDR, Sonic looks weird, Jim Carrey looks like he could be funny, and the trailer was bad, and I don't know.
I kind of like Ace Ventura, so I think it could be funny.
Upcoming stuff for us. Detective Pikachu comes out on the 10th of May. That is the week before finals for us. So needless to say, we will be watching this movie and reporting on it the next week.
Oh, it's on Fridays, okay.
So we will probably see it, I don't know if Thursday night or Friday night, but we'll see it. And
probably Friday, unless we want to drive to Jamestown and go see it.
I mean, we'll see if they're showing it here or not, but we'll definitely check it out. And the 14th will be our last show
for
this semester.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna do any after just yet.
We're looking into ways to do it over the summer.
I mean,
it depends on our schedules and our technology that we have to us. Obviously, it wouldn't be on air, but it will be recorded and put on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe at least one E3 episode or something.
I think we'll do an E3 and a Spider-Man special.
Oh yeah,
like
it might be like in inter-season episode.
It doesn't have to be that many. I mean, like, the logistics of it aren't that hard, I don't think, based on
we'll check it
we
out.
have, so I don't think it would be that difficult.
So next week, do you want to try Hellboy? Because I don't have anything else lined up.
Maybe.
Look into Hellboy, maybe. And,
I'm like, I don't know. It's hard to say just because this weekend is already, like, jam-packed with work for finals.
Yeah. Next week, we'll figure it out. Maybe we won't have a show for Too Busy.
Maybe.
We'll check it out. Stay tuned on our Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, it's up to...
But I would like to have one on the 14th because I don't have a final that day, so I'll be good to go.
It should be fine.
And then that'll be the week after Detective Pikachu, so we'll be able to talk about that and what's to come.
The thing is, like, I think I only have one final actually on finals week, and that's on the last day.
Oh, fun. So you got a week off, basically.
Kind of, yeah. I'll actually get to die in peace.
Cool.
You know.
So, yeah, that's what's coming up, but right now we got to talk about the Avengers. So
can we talk about our experiences of, like...
Yeah, let's talk about what happened. So
not even, like, of the movie, just, like, going to the movie.
This is what has been leading up for us. So I started watching these movies with my dad, basically. He's, since, like, as far as I can remember, he's always been introducing me to superheroes. Like, he's a major Spider-Man nerd, and he's got the rest of, like, Marvel and DC in his back pocket, and he's the one who got me into superheroes in the first place. And I think the first few movies I saw with him were the original Raimi Spider-Man ones.
Yeah.
And from there, I just kept getting in more and more into it. Mm-hmm. I remember I didn't see the Avengers movie in theaters because I wasn't that into it at the time. But like the MCU MCU. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's
I don't think I saw. I think I like eventually saw Captain America and then later Iron Man and started putting the pieces together over time. But like I'd always been in the superheroes and got into the MCU late. But when I did get into the MCU, like I was full steam ahead. Like I saw everything and I knew all the references and I've been building up to this for a while. What about you? When did you get
it's
into
weird
it?
because it's like, obviously I watched Sam Raimi stuff because Spider-Man's my favorite. I've always thought about it, and then I've always been kind of into comics, but not necessarily the MCU.
Yeah.
Like I would buy like all the old comics. I was trying to read a lot of them, and then there's always I've obviously seen the first phase of the MCU. So like around like Iron Man, the first Thor, the first Captain America. I think I've seen the Incredible Hulk. I know I definitely seen the Hulk. Not that good.
Yeah.
But I definitely like watched those a lot of the times when they came out because I remember them being on like FX a lot, and my grandfather would just have them on because he liked sci-fi action kind of movies. So we just watched them, and then that was a pretty good time.
So more recently, like I said, I got into these later. I don't know when I got fully committed, but after
I think Civil War is when I got fully
Civil War was a huge event.
It's mainly because of
Winter
Spider-Man.
Soldier, I remember being really into. Yeah, same for Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
Guardians is something I saw late, but once I saw it, I got really into it.
I saw both of those in theaters, if I remember correctly. I know I saw 2 in theaters.
I'm kind of ashamed that I didn't see 2 in theaters just based on how good it is.
I saw it twice, actually, in theaters.
I think it's really weird because I remember the critics' reviews of the time. A lot of them gave it like 8.2s and stuff, which there aren't bad scores at all, but I'm like, it very much undercuts what that movie is trying to be.
Now it's my favorite MCU movie.
I think it's also a matter of like, that doesn't follow a very simplistic plot structure of 3 acts. It's very different. It's very character focused in very different ways that you wouldn't maybe get on the first watch.
Yeah.
That I feel like a lot of critics miss.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't know. What else?
Let's see.
Because I didn't watch a lot of Phase 2, the Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
And a lot of those kind of era films.
Like I said, I got into it late, so I didn't see much of it either.
Until later.
But let's assume Civil War on is when I was hardcore, like into it, catching up, whatever. And then Infinity War was set to come out. I remember seeing the trailers and getting like ridiculously hyped. I saw it opening night with my dad and 2 brothers and my dad's friend, and that was incredible. Like packed theater, like ups and downs, screaming and crying. It was ridiculous, and I was like that cliffhanger of like half of the universe dead. Was huge.
My favorite thing was walking out of the theater and then like half the kids were crying.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, that's funny.
I really liked at the end of Infinity War. It says. Like usually where it's like Iron Man will return or the Guardians of the Galaxy will return and Infinity War, it said Thanos will return and then it dusted.
People like booed.
One woman stood up and said, "Oh, F you," and stormed out basically. It's really funny. But the legacy of Infinity War was this huge impact, right?
In terms of the comic or in terms of
the movie?
The movie. Okay.
The movie,
yeah. So in terms of the movie, yes.
It's the 4th highest grossing movie of all time with $2.04 billion.
It's a very high grossing film, especially during the time because this is when China, this is around like the 2nd or 3rd Marvel film that entered China.
Yeah.
And the China market is very big, so it gives box office like that tremendous boost.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, the movie itself, I think it's solid.
Infinity War?
I think it's the most solid out of any ensemble film.
Yeah, and me and a bunch of other people were concerned because it was like, you have so many people you have to keep track of. And, like, it was fine for the Avengers because it's like, that's 6. And then Civil War was like, wow, that's like 12 or 14. And Infinity War is like 20-something, right?
Yeah. I really like, even though Infinity War, I have some issues of, like, the overall climax of the fight just in terms of certain issues of like I really like fight choreography. I feel like it wasn't as good as Civil War just due to the fact that there's just a lot less happening in Civil War, and you know where everyone is at any given time.
Yeah.
And you can like process what's happening.
Yeah.
A lot easier, I think, in Civil War. But it was still a very good movie overall. I feel like Thanos as a character was well developed.
Ridiculously well developed. Yeah.
It's very interesting because I watched a video of like the writer for both Infinity War and Endgame. The comic creator, not so it'd be in the Infinity Gauntlet and then in the Infinity War. He also wrote all the Guardians characters.
Yeah.
And he wrote Thanos from the very beginning.
Cool.
And he talked about how the idea of his character, his motivation being changed from just wanting to go after death as a romantic interest.
Yeah.
Is he didn't mind it that much just because the actual way of like technically balancing the universe is another one of his ideas that he gave to Thanos in a different comic.
Yeah, if you missed that, in the comics, Thanos is literally trying to impress Death by destroying like half the universe so he can get with Death, who is a hot woman.
I'm trying to think. I think he was trying to wipe out more if he could.
I don't know.
It just so happened that.
But yeah, that's his original motivation.
Which, he also, I mean, he also said like they couldn't do that storyline because, I guess the Marvel movie execs told him that Death in general is kind of a it's a very like weird character that introduced in the MCU, especially right now.
Yeah.
And he was saying, just wait until more Doctor Strange movies come out.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they went with this route instead of the Death route because that'd kind of be a handful. But
even that storyline in the comics wasn't the greatest either.
Yeah.
Based on what most people said about it, so
yeah, it's a recap of Infinity War and Thanos. But here's where we get to today. Well, modern day.
Well, like a week ago.
Yeah, a week ago. Avengers Endgame. So the lead up to this was ridiculous. The first trailer came out, and the internet lost their mind. Second trailer, keep going and going. And the hype kept building, and it was to get into a point where we didn't know what to expect. The hype was, like, huge, and
I think
I was just waiting to, it was a crunch to get to the theater as soon as possible, for me at least, without getting the movie spoiled, because people thought it would be funny to ruin it for whatever. But
I think the internet was most tame sometimes.
Yeah, I was
a lot more tame than I think.
Lucky enough to be fine, but a lot of people I know did get ruined for them.
I think the spoilers were a lot more tame than Infinity War spoilers were.
Yeah,
if you want to be honest.
In comparison, but it was kind of concerning because everyone knew this is the climax of the MCU, and contracts are ending. Half the universe is dead. How are we going to resolve that? Someone's going to go down. People, speculation was off the charts, and no one really knew who, what, when, where, or how. So there was a lot on the line, and I bought my ticket a few weeks in advance because I was dead set on seeing it opening night. So we got there. It was a 6:30 showing. We got there at 4:30. I think.
There's no way you got there at 4. It would have been 5:30.
5.
There's no way you got there at 4.
I'm thinking 5:30. I'm stupid.
I was about to say
we got food right before, and we got there at 5:30, like an hour beforehand. They were still setting up the promotional stuff. We got there, and by we I mean me, Hunter the Muppet Man, and Jared, our other friend who's into the Avengers. And you did not because you were in class.
Yeah.
But we got there early. We got in as soon as the doors opened for the theater. We threw down our coats right in the middle of the middle. We got the last 2 Captain America and Iron Man souvenir buckets and a big cup of Loganberry, and I was ready to rock and roll.
Were there already a lot of people in there?
We were the first people there because we got an hour early.
Then how did you get the last one? So they only have one?
We got seats and then went back for concessions.
Oh, okay.
Because as soon as we sat down, we went they weren't ready with the buckets and stuff. So we went out 15 minutes after, and we got the last 2.
Okay, because I was kind of confused by that.
Yeah, I get it. But we got the first seats and then the last buckets. But it was packed. Like the theater manager came down before the show and said that this is the first time that our local theater had sold out a show before the doors even opened.
Yeah.
So it was a packed house, and they had to add several more show times to the theater because all the tickets kept getting sold out.
Yeah, this is...
To the point where you had to see a different timing theater with us, right?
Technically, yeah. I mean, by a different time, I mean a half an hour earlier, technically.
Yeah.
Like, I literally sat down, the movie started, and I was like, oh, I'm here. Even though it's in 3D, I'm like, it's whatever.
Did you enjoy it in 3D, or was it...
I don't mind 3D, it's just that it's less tolerable.
Yeah, me too.
I would rather...
But your theater is packed too, right?
It was pretty packed. Like, there's a few seats that were missing, but I just sat in the back because it was a smaller, more condensed theater, so it was fine.
The snack line wrapped around, like, the wall, and when we left the theater, there's a huge line of people, like, ready to go in.
I kind of, see, this is the kind of movie experience that I hate.
You didn't like it?
I don't like it when it's overcrowded. I like it when there's... you know when we went to go see Shazam?
Like 20 or so people.
There's like 20 or so people. You don't feel as like claustrophobic. And you get to see the crowd interaction without being too...
I was really into it because the overwhelming crowd was just so... Well, it added so much emotion. Like, whenever something awesome happened, everyone was screaming. Whenever something sad happened, everyone was like... You just hear sniffles around the room.
I mean, see, the thing is, I saw this movie twice.
You saw it twice already?
Yeah, I've seen it twice.
I'm looking for a second time sometime this week or next week.
I think Jay is trying to go see it, so I wanted to go see it with him possibly.
Yeah, that was the idea, but obviously schedules suck right now.
He said to go do it today, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna. I guess I can't.
Yeah,
go see
exactly.
it with him.
That's what I told him. I was trying to convince him, but whatever. I'm looking for another showing.
Yeah, I want to see it one more time, and then I'll do a final opinion because I have particular opinions right now on it.
Do we want to start talking about the movie itself then? Or we do
maybe.
do you want
I'm trying to think what else
you
is
want to
there.
say? Let's talk about the numbers real quick.
Yeah, like I feel like that would be good.
The budget was $356 million, and opening weekend worldwide was $1.2 billion.
We have to remember. Apparently, Robert made on Robert Downey Jr. made on the last movie was $75 million.
Wow.
Because he got a $50 million check right up front, and then since all the sales, whenever it goes a certain threshold, he makes a certain percentage. Yeah. So he made $25 million off of that.
But yeah, it broke records by becoming the highest grossing
Thursday night opening
as well as
weekend
opening. And it's the 10th highest grossing film of all time
in one weekend.
In a weekend. In some change. But like, it's already surpassed the last Harry Potter movie, The Last Jedi, thank God. Frozen, The Incredibles 2, Civil War.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, Captain Marvel's 24.
That's pretty good for Captain Marvel.
Good for Captain Marvel. The Dark Knight Rises. But yeah, it's about to surpass Black Panther. That is at, it's currently at 3.4 or 3.34. I mean,
I don't see this as being impossible to overreach Avatar.
I don't either. I think it.
I don't know. It's hard to say because the last movie didn't reach past Star Wars or Titanic.
Then again, though, the last movie didn't have this explosive of an opening weekend. It had a good one, but this one blows that one out of the water.
I'm worried that it's more like it's an explosive opening weekend that will die down.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Because, like, some people can only afford to see a movie once.
Yeah.
And there's only, especially of how long this movie is, it's hard to justify seeing it more than a few times, even. It's a very long movie.
Yeah, it could be a contender, but it is down $1.446 billion right now.
I mean, but I guess I always have to consider Titanic is also a 3-hour movie.
I do see it surpassing Black Panther and Age of Ultron.
Definitely. I think it'll surpass all the Marvel movies, and then
The Avengers has 1.5, and then Infinity War has 2.
Yeah, I think it'll surpass Star Wars, maybe Titanic, but I want it to surpass Avatar because I don't want it to be in that spot anymore.
Yeah,
But-
I always like the discussion of Avatar is the top grossing movie of all time, but nobody can name a character from it. Or, like,
Sigourney Weaver's in it.
that's not a character's name.
That's her name.
I know the race of people are called the Na'vi. I also know they have a park in Disney World, but I couldn't tell you a lick about the movie other than the Mad sketch I saw when I was
The
like
worst
11.
part is, I think the ride in Disney World might be better than the actual movie.
Oh yeah,
Because I think that the best thing about Avatar is the universe that the world that it set up.
yeah. I heard it's like really nice.
And
looking
then
movie.
everything else is kind of not that good to me.
But yes, I think it's high time that it becomes another movie.
I think a well
It's
with
been 10 years since Avatar has gotten to the top of the charts.
yeah, I think inflation will probably knock it out.
We'll see.
See, the thing is, Avatar only is so high because it did so well worldwide.
Yes, 72% of its gross was worldwide.
The reason why Star Wars isn't any bit higher,
Because that was only 50%.
is because it's only really a Star Wars movie can only do well in America.
Yeah.
It can do well in Japan, but not really anywhere else. There's not as much of a
Endgame
craze.
has a 70% overseas budget. Well,
Mhm.
not budget, gross. But yeah, it'll be incredibly interesting to see where this goes.
I think it will surpass, but I'm not confident.
So let's get into the movie now. We'll keep it non-spoiler for now. If we still have
Okay.
time for spoiler talk, we'll get into it.
Okay.
But should you see this movie?
Yeah.
100% see this
Well,
movie.
we'll say that right now.
If you're into Marvel at all, see this movie. If you saw Infinity War, see this movie. If you don't really care about Marvel but want to see what everyone's talking about, see this
Go
movie.
see this movie. I don't think.
It's just really cool.
I think there's good concepts in there. There's good ideas. There's. It's the first time in a while where I think I went into any bit of a Marvel superhero movie not knowing where the story could possibly go.
Yeah.
Because that's the best part about this movie, that you didn't know where it could go.
Because the villain had already won. And it was resolving what had happened. And it was kind of like, well, what are they going to do? They could do this, they could do this, they could do this. And you could speculate, but it's not like you can call it. Because if you see the Iron Man trailer, you see Crimson Dynamo, and you're like, oh, he's going to fight Crimson Dynamo. Or if you see Spider-Man Far From Home, it's like, oh, he's going to, not Far From Home, Homecoming, it's like, oh, he's going to fight the Vulture. But if you see the Endgame trailer, what are they going to do?
Yeah, it leaves a lot of
Because
mystery.
half of everyone's dead. So, like, what's going to go on?
There's also, along with the fact that I feel like... I'm trying to think. I feel like origin movies are a lot easier to guess what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And that's why I think the Avengers movies, the more ensemble movies, I guess I'll name them now, are a lot better at that. Even though I don't care for the first two Avengers as much as I care for some of the other ensemble movies in the MCU. I like the first one more than what I thought I did when I rewatched it, though.
I haven't seen the first one in a while. Same with Ultron.
And then I watched Ultron a little before, and I realized Ultron is still a good movie. It just...
I remember liking Ultron.
I think Ultron is better in hindsight than it was at the time.
I mean, there were some really good scenes in Ultron, but...
Well, Ultron, if you watch it again, like, it obviously has very good scenes that travel into Infinity War.
Yeah.
And, like, it foreshadows very well.
There's a lot of really good callbacks in Infinity War. Not Infinity War. Endgame.
In Endgame.
To just a bunch of stuff, just to, like, lines people have said or, changes in character. Because that's one of the cooler things about the MCU is that, like, the character growth is constant.
Yeah, it's hard.
Tony Stark learns to do this, and then, like, you see him, like, be better at that in Infinity War or, like,
it's one of the hard things to criticize the MCU about on a individual movie level is the fact that it's more of the overall arcing narrative is what you have to be looking at comparatively. Like, Tony's character arc, especially up until this movie, has been the most interesting one, along with Cap. I feel
America,
like
Thor too. Like
Thor has a very good one that I feel like a lot of people didn't notice at first. And
Yeah, because he was just kind of this fish out of water Asgardian on Earth. And
I feel like
then
that worked for the first one. It's just that they needed to pick it up in the second one.
the second one.
And then they dropped the ball.
And then the third one, Ragnarok, is where he finally became someone.
Yeah, well, the whole movie is him learning to become who he is.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of the Thor, is like him trying to figure out who he is.
Yeah.
And like what he should do. And for himself, not necessarily for others.
And the scene, the scenes in Endgame are really good too, because it's got a lot of themes of failure and dealing with death and depression and like
possibly
loss
overcoming
exactly
such things.
It's really interesting, and the trailers do kind of depict that, but it's kind of deeper too. Like
yeah, I feel like it's not as deep as some Guardians would go into it.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I would say, is
a little bit deeper,
very deep and has some great moments in it. But like this is I'd say, would you say close second?
It's a good contender for that type of ideal. I feel like it depends on what you want out of the movie, what character you want to see out of the movie. Because I think certain characters are very much highlighted a lot more than a lot of unexpected characters are highlighted a bit more.
Yeah, it's.
I still like. Let me just do a hot take right now.
Sure.
I'm gonna say right now it's not as good as Infinity War.
Honestly, I was thinking about that too, and I would say...
And that's not a bad thing. I'm not, like, that's not a very high negative of the film.
Infinity War does a lot better, only because it's kind of more focused.
Yes, that's
in the groups that it has. The plot is more clear. Thanos as a villain has a much greater presence, and he has such a great motivation and arc in Infinity War that is like crafted throughout, and you understand like him throughout. But in this one, he's kind of more of a.
I would
kind
hold
of
off on that a little,
because they don't develop him as much in this one.
Well, I would hold off on that because there's a lot of reasons for it, and like I understand the reasons. I just
because Infinity War is more of a Thanos movie.
Yeah,
Endgame's more of an Avengers movie.
Yeah, I feel like they could have done a better balance, but was the plot line of what's happening? It's hard.
It makes sense, but you know, we're not saying Endgame is bad by any means compared to Infinity War, but
I prefer Infinity War. It's kind of the a good way to say it. It's more like it's the difference between Empire and Return. Yeah,
both are incredible, but one's got a leg up.
Even though I would argue Endgame is a much better movie than what Return is in comparison. To Empire, but it's hard to explain this movie sometimes
especially without the spoiler talk. But
I would say there's like 3 different movies in one in this film.
Yeah.
Take that as you will. I don't think that's a spoiler.
Speaking of spoilers,
or do you want to go into it? Or not?
I'm from Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
And one of the Buffalo Bills, I think linebacker.
Oh, yeah.
He just tweeted a blatant spoiler of the movie, like the day after or the night of, and it just ruined a lot of people. And I was like, Buffalo can't catch a break, dude. Like,
I didn't even know what he said. We can't say it here right now, but
yeah, but it was really depressing to see. Like, I was in the clear. I saw the movie, but like.
Do you think
between the Simpsons roasting us last night and
do you think he did that on purpose, or
I think he's just stupid.
That could be it. Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, we got 10 minutes left, and I think it's we've had our fair share of non-spoiler talk. So you got 30 seconds to hightail it out before we start talking about spoilers.
I would most likely think most people that are watching, it's not like we didn't warn you last episode.
We warned you last episode.
We warned you throughout
a few times before, and on my Instagram, I said we'd be talking spoilers. So this is it. We're gonna go into spoiler time.
All right.
So in 5, 4, 3, 2. I know you see. It's the iCarly opening.
That's not in the movie.
I wish iCarly was in here.
I don't know if you would wish that.
Dude, iCarly could use the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, do you think Just a Girl would start playing?
No, I'm
Just a Girl.
Gibby with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Gibby.
All right, so spoilers time.
Okay.
I don't know if I can. I feel it's so.
All right. So
Do you want to get into it, or you just want to not do it?
I can get into it. Nothing like big. I want to talk about the structure of the movie and how it
Okay.
feels like.
So we'll
first-
keep it simple for now.
Yeah, I feel like
We'll
this
ease
was.
into it.
I feel like this is a much simpler way of putting it. The first part, like the first third of the movie, feels like Infinity War,
Yeah.
kind of like something that could have been tacked on the end of Infinity War,
Uh-huh.
and then once you move
But I am
past
glad
that,
with how they ended Infinity War compared to like I wouldn't have said tack this on.
No,
but
no,
it does feel
I-
like a continuation.
no, I'm not saying like that in a bad way or
Yeah.
something they could just do. It just feels like something that could have been,
Yeah.
which is not. I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
We then have a time jump, 5 years, and then it feels like
which shook the theater, by the way.
yeah, it kind of was very dramatic, and then it literally turns into a Back to the Future movie.
They
like time
say
travel
Back
movie.
to the Future is BS too, which is really funny.
Well, yes, even
They-
though all the rules in their movie is just as bad.
Yeah, so it is a time travel movie, which is interesting because whenever you do introduce time travel, it
Everything's
does
just
add much more confusion, and especially in the MCU now, where they just kind of like whip up time travel.
I think
Every movie now that happens after Endgame is in a world where time travel exists.
the thing is, I feel like this is a future plot point
Yeah,
that we'll see the effects of what actually happened.
yeah,
Like I feel like we're not seeing the big overall picture of what actually happens with time travel
yeah.
just yet. I feel like that could cause mutants, maybe that could introduce X-Men.
Oh, that could be
or
cool.
or another way to introduce mutants. Obviously, the radiation by using the Infinity Stones
Yeah,
could cause mutants. It could introduce the X gene
yeah.
into the system. I feel like that would be very interesting to introduce.
Yeah, so
And the more I was thinking about it, I was just kind of like, oh, if they actually do a Black Widow movie, the Black Widow movie would obviously be a prequel movie, but I think they would introduce X-Men into that,
that could be cool.
making it seem like, oh, these people already exist, but they're top secret and they
Secret,
don't
yeah.
talk about them.
So I want to talk about the beginning of the movie again.
Yes, what
it
aspect?
starts with Hawkeye and his family just hanging out,
It was very abrupt. That's
and they get
probably
snapped.
that was like the most abrupt edit into a movie I've seen.
Yeah, because it was like
Aladdin.
Dumbo coming out this month.
yeah, it was very.
All right, now aim steady. I was like, oh, hello.
I wasn't certain. I thought it might have been in like an Avengers ad right before the movie.
Yeah, but it was
possibly.
really interesting that started. And they get snapped and it starts, but they're all hanging. They all start hanging out in like no, they don't hang out in Avengers Town first, right?
What do you mean? They're hanging out on their farm.
No, it starts with Tony.
Oh,
Kinda
that's
shit.
what you mean. Okay.
So
Well, let's not gloss over the actual the opening credits where it didn't play the usual Avengers theme.
oh yeah,
It plays Mr. Fantasy, which is a very probably the most interesting
Mm-hmm.
song choice I've heard in a while because I don't think you got it as much the first time around.
yeah.
What that truly meant until you sit through it a second time and you're like, oh, like the song has lyrics like, "Dear Mr. Fantasy, play your guitar and get us out of this glue," and stuff like that. Like just
Play
trying
us
to
a tune, something to make us all happy. Do
Yeah.
anything to take us out of this gloom. Sing a song, play guitar.
Yeah,
make
just
it
kinda like-
snappy.
like it's kind of it does very much fit.
Yeah,
inside
it
of
was
that
really
more.
interesting.
More than what I thought the first time around. I just thought it was kind of odd, but then
Yeah.
I grew to like it a lot.
Then Tony and Nebula get rescued by Captain Marvel.
Actually, that Nebula scene far more interesting the second time I watched it through.
Yeah, it was very good.
I
They're
didn't
playing
realize
paper
how much
football and
character Nebula actually got in this movie.
Yeah, Nebula was kind of slept on in the other movies, but she kind
Oh,
of
and this one, she was
kind of stars.
she's a top star to me.
Yeah,
in
she's
this
really
film.
cool. But
Also, there's Ant-Man 2.5 movie in this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
after they get the band back together, basically they get all the Avengers back from space and stuff. They set out to find Thanos. They find him. find that the stones are destroyed because he used the stones to destroy the stones.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kill him.
Which almost
In the
killed
first 10
Thanos.
minutes of the movie.
No, this...
No, they just straight up execute him.
No, I mean, like, they,
The stones almost killed him.
I feel like it's a lot longer than 10 minutes, actually.
It felt like the first 10 minutes.
It felt like 10 minutes, but it was actually like 30 minutes into
He's
the
just
film.
gone right off the bat. And I was like, oh. It was ridiculous.
They beheaded him, and I was very...
He went for the head.
That's...
And then after that is the time jump where we see the effects of living in this world.
Kind of a post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it was kind of post-apocalyptic, but systems were still going, kind of.
Well, that's what would have happened. It's not going to be too overly dramatic.
It was really interesting to see the effects it had on everyone, and like the kind of Avengers kind of were disbanded in a way. Like no one was really actively working together anymore. Tony had a family, and Cap was just kind of in support groups with people.
I think he was like...
Hawkeye went to become a mercenary.
Yeah. Rhodey's going after...
Him.
I can't... Hawkeye. Whatever his name is in this film, I forget.
But yeah, it was... That transition was really interesting. I really like what they did with... Like this is what happened, everyone. I liked the Hulk, the Professor Hulk. I liked Thor a lot. A lot of some people are upset about him, but I think it's a really good way to show.
I think it's people who didn't think. I think it's people who don't actually think about it and they look at it very
face value,
narrowish.
Thor is the Big Lebowski in this movie. I think it's really big.
See, the worst part is I would make a joke, but you wouldn't get it right now. I almost wanted. There's literally a scene right after Tony's funeral at the end where you see him with the sunglasses on the edge talking. That almost is an allusion to a scene at the end of the first one where Big Lebowski's friend dies.
Oh yeah,
and he has a can. Like, he has his ashes in a folders jar, like a coffee folders.
That's funny.
And I almost wish he had Tony Stark's ashes in a folders cup. That would have been so funny.
But yeah, obviously Iron Man went down in this movie because he had been the whole first segment of the MCU, starting with Iron Man. It was kind of Iron Man's arc between his 3 movies. The Avengers one, Civil War, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and this.
It's always been in this movie. It's very much an Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America arc.
And all the arcs were satisfied. And the ones that were left open were, very, hopeful. And I was like, wow, this is going to be great. In the case of Thor.
The only, bad one I really would... The only character that really doesn't get an arc is really Hulk, ever.
Yeah, Hulk just kind of...
He kind of does, and then he doesn't. And
I feel like they're still going to be using him.
I don't know to what extent.
I don't know, maybe Peter will be like, hey, Mr. Banner, can you help me with my science homework? And I'll be like, yeah, sure. And he just has a scene with him.
I kind of
I don't know why I just thought of the scene from Shazam at the last scene.
The last scene.
I brought a friend.
The scene is so good.
But yeah, I don't want to say anything else about this movie for now because I feel like people should still see it.
Oh yeah. This is definitely
I know I prefaced, hey, we're gonna spoil things, and we did, but
I think we're at the point where people...
If you did not see this movie, see this movie.
I think we're at the point where people who wanted to get spoiled already spoiled themselves. People who really wanted to go see it pretty much already saw it.
But still,
and you have stragglers, which wouldn't be listening really right now, either.
Yeah, we're on a time anyway.
There's a lot to talk about in this movie, and I feel like...
I would be very interested in, probably one of the first shows in the next semester coming back post Far From Home.
Maybe
and doing a discussion of the MCU.
Yeah, I think...
Phase 1, the Infinity Saga.
I think the most interesting part is watching the Far From Home trailer again and kind of rethinking Peter's motivations.
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting.
So, yeah, thanks for tuning in to Nerd is the Word tonight, folks. We may or may not be here next week, depending on our schedule.
Depending on what
studying
we can pull
and exam prep. But look forward to at least one more on the 14th with Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, we should definitely have Detective Pikachu. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know. We'll find something.
Figure it out.
Probably. It'll be something.
Whatever it takes. All right, folks. Thanks
All
for
right.
tuning in. I've been Jackson DiCarlo.
And Ben Anderson.
We'll see you next week, maybe. Goodbye.
Bye.